Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on everyone's favorite Little's Law YouTube channel. So today in this video, we are going to see about one of the question that's been asked in the comment section. So how or like why do we use the web custom request? And this is in terms of LoadRunner. So we do use several web functions. So this question has been asked towards the LoadRunner interview question. So let me explain you today what is web custom request and why do we use it. And before we move on to this video, this is me, Austin Shanmugam. I welcome you all to our Little Slaw YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and don't forget to give a thumbs up to our videos if you really like it. And coming back to the LoadRunner web custom request. Uh, so most of us, we used to struggle with API testing or with modern web applications. And this is for those who are struggling to solve it. So this is going to solve you a lot of problems. So let's dive in and let me take you to the actual slide, which is what is a web custom request. So first, let me explain what web custom request actually is. So think of it as the Swiss Army knife of LoadRunner functions. And the reason I told you by using this powerful word is while there are like regular functions like web URL, which only lets us do some basic get and post request. What this web custom request does is it gives us the complete control over the HTTP request. So you can use any HTTP method. You can use get, post, put, delete, whatever you need. And you can even add custom headers. You can send JSON data and you can basically create any type of request your application needs. So it's like having a superpower in LoadRunner. And that's the reason we use web custom request and not any other web functions like web URL. And moving on to the next slide, why we use web custom request. So far I told you what is a web custom request, and now I'll tell you, I'll tell you why we use a web custom request. So now you might be thinking like, why should I use this instead of a regular functions, right? Let me tell you this, why this is a game changer. First of all, if you're testing an API, and let's be honest, like most modern applications are API based, right? And in that case, if you are testing an API based application, this web custom request is your best friend. Secondly, it handles all those AJAX calls that modern websites use. So if you're someone who wants to test an application which uses AJAX call, then you must use a web custom request. And thirdly, you can test microservices very easily. And here's the big one, that is you get much better control over authentication, especially with those bearer tokens, right? So nowadays, any applications comes with the bearer tokens, and that especially with the APIs. When something goes wrong, it's very easy to debug because we can see exactly what's being sent and what is being received using the custom request. So that's the reason we use the web custom request. And now the fourth slide, which is what is the difference between the standard versus the custom request comparison. So let me show you a quick comparison. Like you see here, we can see the difference. So with the regular functions like web URL, we are limited to just get and post. But with the web custom request, we can use any HTTP method like get, post, put, delete. Again, when it comes to custom headers, the web URL or any other methods or functions, like they are limited with the regular functions. But you get full control with custom request. And if you want to send a JSON data, yes, you uh, get an option to do it, but it is super easy. Web custom request, when you're using web custom request, it is super easy with the custom request. And the bottom line is, if you're testing modern applications, especially APIs, web custom requests, this is the right way to go. And now the fifth slide, where this is actually a real world example where I was using this for the training videos, where I'm using a web custom request. So if you see here, I'm using the URL. Again, it's an API call. The method is get, and I use the record content type, which is a JSON, and the referrer you can see it here in the mode, which is HTTP. So this is actual code from a banking application that I have been working with for the training videos. So as you can see, we are making a GET request to fetch the bank information from an API endpoint. Notice how clean and readable this is. So we are hitting the management API, which is expecting a JSON response, and we have got all our parameters clearly defined. And this is exactly the kind of request you would see in modern web applications, right? So now you must have understood like why we are using web custom request, and then the breakdown of parameters. So let me break down each parameter for you because understanding these are very crucial. So the first parameter in the previous code, in the previous slide that we see, is just the name, and think of it as like a label for a request, and the URL is where we are sending the request. And notice that I'm using a parameter for the host name. So method is obviously get in that case, and the resource 0 means it is an HTML type resource, and record content type tells LoadRunner that we are expecting a JSON back. And the referrer is the page that's making this request, and the snapshot saves the response for comparison, and the mode is HTTP. And finally, last, like, just tells LoadRunner that we are done with the parameters. So with that, the breakdown of the parameter is done. And then moving on to the next one, the best practices of using the web custom request. So before we wrap up, let me share some best practices that will definitely save you hours of debugging. So firstly, always use descriptive name for your request. Don't just call everything as request 1 or request 2. And the second thing is parameterize everything, every single thing. So when I say everything, just everything that is possible for you. Um, uh, like your host, your tokens, your user IDs, and everything that can change, please do parameterize them. And thirdly, always add proper correlation and validation after your requests. Right? So don't forget to add the correlation and validation after request. And fourth, always use snapshot when you're debugging. They are the lifesavers, I would say. I literally got saved several times when I was using debugging using the snapshots. And finally, set your resource type correctly for better performance reporting. And now finally the conclusion part. So yes, again, I should thank the subscriber for asking this question. Yep. And here we're going to wrap up on the web custom request. And I hope this helped you understand why this function is so powerful and how can you use it in your LoadRunner scripts. And if you found this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. It really helps the channel grow. Drop a comment below if you have any questions or if there is a specific LoadRunner topic you would like me to cover next. And if you're working on API testing right now, try out web custom request and let me know how it goes. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. See you all very soon. Take care and bye bye.